In Season 1 of Legacies, Hope Mikaelson starts another year attending the supernatural Salvatore School for the Young and Gifted. There, she trains under the human headmaster Alaric Saltzman. Hope is still struggling with grief over the loss of her parents, and pushes away any friendships with her fellow classmates. Alaric's twin witch daughters Lizzie and Josie are fellow students at the school, but they feel overlooked by their father due to his constant mentorship of Hope. Lizzie is a typical popular mean girl who often targets her aggression toward Hope, while Josie is a genius who often allows her twin to take center stage. Hope and Alaric recruit a new werewolf Rafael to join the school, but his foster brother Landon isn't allowed to join him as he is a human. Hope and Landon quickly develop romantic feelings for each other and share a kiss before Landon is forced to return home. As he leaves, his bus bursts into flames and kills everyone on board, and Landon goes missing. Mystic Falls Sheriff Matt Donovan knows that something supernatural is responsible and tasks Alaric with uncovering the truth. Alaric, Hope, and Rafael find and save Landon, who reveals that it was actually a dragon that destroyed the bus. The group defeats the dragon and returns to the school, where Landon is allowed to stay despite being human, though Hope grows suspicious of him and how he managed to survive the bus incident. Alaric then allows the students to elect representatives for their own student council. Josie is elected head of the witches, Kaleb is elected head of the vampires, and Rafael is head of the werewolves. Hope helps orchestrate Josie and Kaleb voting to expel Landon from the school, which devastates Rafael. He turns to Lizzie for comfort and the two sleep together, but Rafael later admits to Lizzie that he regrets it, as he has stronger feelings for her sister Josie. Despite expelling Landon from the school, Hope can't help her romantic feelings for him and gives him a kiss goodbye, encouraging him to find his birth mother. Landon finds his mother Selah and discovers that she was once a human agent for the organization Triad Industries, whose mission was to keep the truth of the supernatural world a secret from the human population. Selah was absorbed by the dark magic entity Malivore, and upon her re-emergence, she had become magically pregnant with Landon. Selah sacrifices herself to Malivore to save her son, who returns to the Salvatore School and officially begins dating Hope, who resolves with Alaric to defeat the dark magic creature. Meanwhile, Rafael develops his own romantic feelings for Hope, straining his relationship with his foster brother Landon. Elsewhere, Alaric's vampire student aide MG goes to reveal to his father that he is a vampire, but his father doesn't accept him. Devastated, MG begins to spiral and lose control of his bloodlust, leading to him killing Landon. As everyone goes to mourn and collect Landon's body, he rises from its ashes and reveals that he is a phoenix, a supernatural being that can resurrect themselves. Lizzie and Josie then learn that they are Gemini twins, and on their 22nd birthday they will be forced to complete a merge ritual, where only one will survive and absorb the power of the other. The sisters are devastated by this revelation, and even more upset that their parents have kept this a secret from them for so long. Josie then reveals that she is accidentally the reason that Lizzie has long hated Hope, as Josie started a rumor to cover up her romantic feelings for Hope. With this secret revealed, Josie and Lizzie reconcile with Hope, who finally allows herself to push past her grief and develop deeper friendships. As the season comes to a close, Landon is kidnapped by Triad agent Nick Clark. Landon learns that humans used to be under constant attack by various supernatural beings, so a witch, werewolf, and vampire work together to create a magical golem known as Malivore that could absorb all other supernatural beings. Malivore then tried to fight back against the triad of witches, werewolves, and vampires by creating a golem army. One of those creations was Clark and another Landon, making the pair half-brothers. Humans formed Triad Industries to capture supernatural beings and feed them to Malivore. The Triad wants to collect artifacts stored at the Salvatore School to empower Malivore and increase its strength. As the Triad attack the school, the students realize that a dark magic fountain is blocking their magical abilities, making the fight seemingly unwinnable. Alaric turns off the fountain and teams up with his students to defeat the Triad at the school, while Hope goes to rescue Landon from Clark, realizing that because she has the tribrid blood of a witch, werewolf, and vampire, that she is the key to defeating Malivore. Hope sacrifices herself and forces Clark to join her, and so Malivore is defeated, but Hope is erased from existence, leaving all of the new friends and family she has made unaware that she ever even existed. Alaric admits to the school he brought the dark magic fountain as a safety measure to protect the human world from his supernatural students should they turn evil. Alaric apologizes for not believing in them and allows the student council to hold a vote to oust him as headmaster. In Season 2 of Legacies, Hope realizes that she has failed at defeating Malivore and leaves its pit to return to a life that has forgotten her. She is heartbroken to discover that in her absence, Landon and Josie have begun to date. Looking to start a new life, Hope decides to not return to the Salvatore School and instead attend Mystic Falls High alongside humans. But that new life is threatened when Ryan Clark convinces Malivore to allow him to temporarily escape its clutches to find and kill Hope once and for all. As the recently fired Alaric takes over as principal of Mystic Falls High, the Salvatore School names Professor Vardamus as its new headmaster. Vardamus wants the supernatural residents of Mystic Falls to live openly and encourages the students to use magic outside of school grounds. He even instructs Josie on the use of dark magic, helping her use an object known as a Mora Miserium to absorb any darkness that forms in her due to the dangerous magic's usage. Unfortunately, this leads to Josie having visions of the Mora Miserium breaking, all of its dark magic being released, and the Salvatore School being destroyed by Josie's own turn to darkness. Elsewhere, Lizzie meets a mysterious new vampire at the school named Sebastian, and the two begin to date. Alaric doesn't trust his daughter's new boyfriend and orchestrates his disappearance before telling Lizzie that Sebastian chose to leave on his own accord. Alaric, meanwhile, becomes the object of desire for Mystic Falls' new sheriff, Mac, who replaced Matt Donovan after he was elected the town's mayor. Mac has two teenagers, Ethan and Maya, and Ethan fights with Rafael over their shared attraction to Hope. Josie then seeks out the help of Hope's aunt, Freya Mikaelson, now raising her son Nick with her wife Keelan, to create a spell that would restore everyone's memories. The spell works, and Hope is finally remembered by her family and friends, leading Landon to make the difficult decision of breaking up with Josie to return to his true love, Hope. Professor Vardamus then reveals himself to be a magically disguised Ryan Clark. Clark attempts to kill Hope and take over her body, allowing him to permanently leave Malivore, but he is defeated and killed by another escaped creature from Malivore, the Necromancer. The Necromancer grows powerful enough to release various supernatural creatures that had been previously absorbed by Malivore, and instead force them into doing his bidding. Alaric then resumes his role as headmaster of Salvatore School, and works with his students to find a way to defeat their newest threat. The Necromancer wants to steal the Mora Miserium from Josie and harness the power of its dark magic. And to prevent that, Lizzie devises a plan to transport the object into a magically created prison world. Unfortunately, the witch student Alyssa regains memories of her past that Alaric had erased. When she was a child, Alyssa lost control of her powers and accidentally killed her parents. Alaric contemplated sending her to the prison world, but instead wiped her memory and allowed her to attend the Salvatore School to learn to control her powers. And so, after regaining her memories, the spiteful Alyssa cast a spell that sends Alaric and his daughters to the prison world alongside the Mora Miserium. While trapped there, Lizzie discovers that her father had also imprisoned her vampire boyfriend Sebastian. The group are confronted by Kai Parker, the evil vampire uncle of Josie and Lizzie, who has been imprisoned here for many years. Kai is assisted by Malivore in returning to the real world to wreak havoc on the Salvatore School. To escape the prison world, Josie is forced to break the Mora Miserium and absorb its dark magic, giving her the power to bring her family home. Unfortunately, someone must stay behind to act as an anchor. Sebastian volunteers, proving his true intentions to Alaric. The Saltzman family return home, where Alaric kills Kai once and for all. Unfortunately, after breaking the Mora Miserium, Josie is now Dark Josie, who teams up with the Necromancer and blows up half the school. Dark Josie then declares that she wants to complete the merge ritual with Lizzie early to absorb her power. Hope helps Lizzie link her life to Landon's so that when Josie wins the merge and Lizzie is killed, she is resurrected by Landon's Phoenix powers. Unfortunately, the Necromancer has plans of his own and begins killing Salvatore School students, including Alyssa and Rafael, resurrecting them as zombies to do his bidding. Rafael then kills Landon with a golden arrow that prevents his resurrection. Hope goes into Josie's mind and helps her defeat the darkness, while Alaric makes a deal with the Necromancer, allowing him to absorb the darkness in exchange for the revival of all of the Necromancer's victims. Unfortunately, as the students are revived, Hope and Landon somehow fail to wake up. In Season 3 of Legacies, the Necromancer resurrects Landon, but the Golden Arrow has permanently removed his Phoenix powers. In turn, Landon is able to wake up Hope with a kiss. When the Necromancer is stopped from absorbing Josie's dark magic, as Alaric had promised, he revokes his deal and ensures his resurrected zombies will all die for good. Alyssa pledges her allegiance to the Necromancer, who spares her life, while Rafael evades death by being sent to a prison world of his own, joined by his long-lost biological parents, where they can spend an eternity together making up for their lost time. To defeat their newest villain, Landon reluctantly teams up with Malivore, who has been depowered and forced into servitude by the Necromancer. Landon allows his father to possess and empower him, and teams up with Hope to successfully trap the Necromancer and Malivore in the prison world, where Malivore regains his power and prepares to spend an eternity enacting his revenge on his only available prey. Unfortunately, despite this victory, Landon disappears, leaving Hope no idea of where he is or how to save him. Josie has become an outcast due to her actions as Dark Josie, and decides to leave the Salvatore School to attend Mystic Falls High. MG feels like he doesn't get the respect he deserves from his fellow classmates and chooses to follow Josie there. At Mystic Falls High, MG forms a strong friendship with Ethan, while Josie strikes up a romantic relationship with Finch, who soon reveals that she is in fact a werewolf, transferring to the Salvatore School and joining the Wolf Pack, headed by new Alpha Jed. Back at Salvatore, Hope helps welcome in a new student, Cleo, who is her new witch roommate. When Hope discovers that Landon is trapped in the prison world with Malivore and the Necromancer, Alaric warns that trying to save him may risk releasing Malivore once again. Hope ignores Alaric's warning and successfully saves her boyfriend. Malivore then begins sending its formerly consumed monsters to hunt down Cleo, as she is a magical muse that may help him gain the inspiration needed to escape the prison world. Hope and her friends save Cleo, who then begins dating Kaleb. Hope then notices that Landon is behaving strangely since his return from the prison world, leading her to discover that he is not the real Landon, but a golem created by Malivore to manipulate her. Cleo then reveals that she has been controlling the Landon golem, as she has been forced into servitude by Malivore for centuries after giving herself over to the evil entity to protect the people of her village. Despite being forced to serve Malivore, Cleo has been searching for a way to kill him so that she can be free of his control. The real Landon returns, but breaks up with Hope, fearing that their constant battle with Malivore will only lead to them destroying each other. Landon then teams up with Cleo, who gives him the magical inspiration needed to defeat his father. Unfortunately, this is also not the real Landon, but actually Malivore, using Landon's body as a vessel, who consumes Cleo and absorbs her power, just as he had done to his son. As the season comes to a close, Ryan Clark is magically resurrected and repents of his villainy, joining Hope's mission to defeat Malivore. Everyone bands together to capture Malivore and lock him inside a prison at the Salvatore School, vowing to stop at nothing to defeat the evil being once and for all and rescue the friends that he has consumed. In Season 4 of Legacies, Malivore escapes the Salvatore School prison and magically compels Ethan and Kaleb into becoming mindless drones to do his bidding. As Malivore enacts violent destruction upon the school and the town, Hope decides to finally activate the tribrid powers that she has long left dormant, making her the most powerful supernatural being in the world. Hope has long resisted accessing her full power, fearing it will lead her to committing villainous acts similar to her father. Freya assists Hope in dying to trigger her dormant vampire and werewolf genes. As Josie helps Cleo escape Malivore, Hope uses her combined vampire, werewolf, and witch powers to kill the evil entity, knowing that it would tragically also mean the death of her beloved Landon. Following Malivore's death, Ethan and Kaleb are released from his mind control and are each left with new magical abilities. Ethan begins dating Lizzie, while his best friend MG helps him learn to control his newfound abilities. Unfortunately, Ethan's powers begin to kill him the more he uses them, giving him a very finite lifespan. Knowing impending death is inevitable, Ethan encourages his best friend MG to pursue his love for Lizzie. Meanwhile, Josie decides that with Malivore defeated, it was finally time to leave the school and Mystic Falls for good, setting off on her own adventure. Devastated at being forced to kill her own boyfriend, Hope chooses to turn off her humanity, leaving her devoid of any emotions. The humanityless Hope mortally wounds Alaric, putting him in a coma, and attempts to recruit Clark to her newfound villainy. But Clark maintains his newfound redemption, choosing instead to live a human life in peace with his new girlfriend. As Hope's friends all search for a way to restore Hope's humanity, Lizzie begins to reluctantly search for a backup plan, crafting the only weapon that can kill a tribrid, a red oak stake. When Lizzie confronts Hope, she can't bring herself to kill her friend. Instead, the humanityless Hope murders Lizzie, who had secretly planned for this outcome by drinking vampire blood. And so, Lizzie is resurrected as a vampire witch hybrid known as a heretic, who is forced to be loyal to her vampire sire, Hope. The original witch, werewolf, and vampire that formed the triad believe that in Malevor's absence, Hope is the new greatest threat to humanity. And so, Hope sets off on a mission to kill the original triad before they can kill her. Hope kills the witch and werewolf before she and Lizzie discover that the triad vampire is none other than Aurora de Martel, an evil villainess who was recently released from an eternal prison that Hope's father Klaus had trapped her in before his death. Aurora's plan to defeat Hope involves waking up the long slumbering gods, including their leader Tien. Tien and his fellow gods put themselves into a deep sleep following the creation of Malivore, ensuring there was no chance that the evil entity could consume them and make the world forget them, as their power is derived from belief. The newly reawakened Tien offers for Aurora to serve by his side as a new godly power couple, with their first mission together to kill Hope, as her new title of most powerful being on Earth is a threat to Tien's own godly claims. Tien's half-god son Ben arrives at the Salvatore School to help them fight his father. Centuries ago, after his human boyfriend fell ill, Ben sought his father's help in healing him. When Tien refused, a distraught Ben stole power from the gods and came to Earth. And although that power failed to save Ben's boyfriend, it was the event that inadvertently first brought magic to Earth. As Ben aligns with the Salvatore School, he meets and falls in love with the werewolf Jed. Meanwhile, in the limbo realm between life and death, the newly dead Landon encounters Ted, the reformed original human version of the necromancer. As the duo prepare to journey into the peace of the afterlife, they are stopped by Alaric, who helps them steal the boat of the ferryman, a supernatural being who helps lead souls to peace. The trio then seek out a genie who successfully sends Alaric's spirit back to his body on Earth, though Landon and Ted are forced to stay behind. In an effort to restore Hope's humanity, her friends send her back to New Orleans, where Rebecca, Freya, Cole, and Marcel are holding a memorial for her father Klaus. Hope's family and the memories of her father finally help her turn her humanity back on, returning to the Salvatore School with a renewed sense of purpose. Tien arrives and battles Hope, defeating her and sending her spirit to Limbo, where she reunites with Landon. Hope tries to stay in Limbo to search for a way to bring Landon back to life, but he refuses, knowing that Hope needed to return to Earth to help her friends defeat Tien. And so, Hope and Landon share a final emotional farewell. Landon sends Hope back to the land of the living, while he stays behind and takes over as the new ferryman, guiding souls to find their ultimate peace in the afterlife. His first soul guided to peace is his unlikely new friend Ted. With Hope being resurrected, Tien and Aurora become even more ruthless in killing her. They lead a final assault on the school that turns into an all-out war. Tien kills Kaleb and then magically forces all of the werewolf students to transform, turning friends against friends. Alaric is forced to kill Jed in self-defense, while MG dies locking up the werewolves to avoid any further violence. When Hope shows Aurora mercy in battle, Aurora realizes the error of her ways and chooses to sacrifice herself to save Hope from Tien's attack. Lizzie then siphons Tien's power and uses it to blow him up. Ethan uses the last of his power to teleport Lizzie to safety before finally dying. In Limbo, Landon uses his new ferryman power to resurrect Kaleb, Jed, and MG, who arrive back on Earth to help all of their friends kill Tien once and for all. Following Tien's death, his son Ben becomes a mortal human. Jed's own resurrection has reset his werewolf curse, making him a human, allowing the lovers to live mortal lives together. Alaric chooses to leave the Salvatore School to write a book on all of the supernatural creatures he has encountered, so the world can finally one day learn the truth of his heroic friends. As Alaric departs, Hope bids her surrogate second father an emotional farewell. Cleo has a vision of herself taking over as headmaster in the future, but for now, Caroline returns to reunite with Lizzie and lead the school in Alaric's absence. After guiding Ethan to peace, Landon briefly returns to Earth to help Hope spread Klaus's ashes, bringing a message her father sent from the afterlife to encourage her as she continues to move on with her life. As the series comes to a close, Hope joins Caroline in welcoming a new class of students to the Salvatore School, a place where the supernatural outcasts can finally feel welcome and at home.